Hey everyone, I'm back with another update. In this episode, I'll cover news related to Iran, Venezuela, immigration, and Minnesota. Of course, I'll end with the noteworthy tidbits. The United States withdrew personnel from multiple bases in the Middle East as tensions flared with Iran, and an Iranian protester revealed Khamenei regime forces unleashed shotgun fire on demonstrators. President Trump was later told the killing of protesters had stopped and no executions were planned. Trump also said that military action for Iran is not off the table, and the Treasury Department found that the regime has been wiring tens of millions of dollars out of the country. Elon Musk provided free Starlink access to the protesters, an important resource amid the nationwide internet blackout. Starlink has been banned by the Iranian government, but tens of thousands of terminals have been smuggled into the country since 2022. The terminals are often disguised to avoid detection, and around 40,000 to 50,000 of them are active. With this Starlink access, protesters and others can share information, videos, and updates with the outside world, which of course the regime doesn't like, so they've been actively trying to disrupt Starlink through GPS jamming and other signal interference. On to news related to Venezuela. The Venezuela operation leaker from the Pentagon has been criminally charged with leaking classified information involving a foreign adversary, and he's currently in jail. President Trump said he had a very good phone conversation with Delcy Rodriguez, the interim president of Venezuela, and they discussed oil, minerals, trade, national security, and more. The Senate voted on the War Powers Resolution against President Trump's Venezuela operation, which resulted in a tie. Vice President Vance cast the tie-breaking vote, which resulted in the resolution failing to pass through the Senate. Let's shift to immigration-related news. CMS Administrator Dr. Oz found $1.8 billion in fraudulent spending on illegal aliens' health care across 8 states, and as a result, the Trump administration is withholding $300 million from California, which is by far the worst offender of this. Senator Rand Paul is filing a bill to end all taxpayer-funded welfare for migrants, including refugees, asylees, and illegals, and Trump announced that effective February 1st, sanctuary cities will no longer receive federal funding. Republicans are advancing legislation in the Senate to allow denaturalization and deportation of legal immigrants who commit fraud, and the United States experienced negative net migration in 2025 for the first time in at least 50 years. Switching to news out of Minnesota. It was reported that the ICE agent who fatally shot Renee Good in Minneapolis suffered internal bleeding to the torso after Good hit him with her vehicle, and the Trump administration is surging more federal attorneys to Minnesota to aggressively prosecute immigration cases. 1,000 more immigration officers surged to Minnesota as well, joining nearly 2,000 other federal agents already there, and federal agents now outnumber local police in the Minneapolis-St. Paul area by nearly 5 times. The Trump administration deployed ICE to the Minneapolis-St. Paul airport to investigate the immigration statuses of flyers and staff, and there was a huge federal law enforcement response to an ICE-involved shooting of a Venezuelan migrant. The migrant was shot in the leg because he swung a shovel at an agent, and he was arrested along with 2 others involved in the incident. Attorney General Pam Bondi revealed she fired 6 Department of Justice prosecutors in Minnesota because they no longer support ICE and wanted to resign but used their annual leave up until April, which means, in Bondi's words, they wanted the taxpayers to pay for them to go on vacation because they decided they didn't want to support law enforcement. Assistant Attorney General Harmeet Dillon sued Minnesota over the discriminatory affirmative action program in state agencies that targets white people and males, and President Trump demanded the immediate deportation of the Somalis who smuggled $130 million through the airport from Ohio to Minnesota. A judge blocked the Trump administration from freezing SNAP benefits while investigating fraud. And in other fraud-related news, a California NGO named Community Forward SF received $80 million for their program that gives alcohol shots to homeless alcoholics in San Francisco, but they've only served 55 clients total. Now it's time for the noteworthy tidbits, which are brought to you today by Zevo Life. Let me tell you about them quick. Looking for a game-changing way to improve your health? Zevo Life is the world's most nutrient-dense whole plant, packed with over 50% plant protein, essential amino acids, fiber, and antioxidants. Harnessing the best nature has to offer, Ziva Life nourishes your body while driving your performance, vitality, and overall well-being. Each serving is a concentrated source of clean, well-balanced nutrition designed to support modern lifestyles, and just 1 teaspoon a day supports your gut, boosts energy, and promotes healthier skin and hair. It's no wonder that it's receiving rave 5-star reviews. Step into a healthier future with a 30% discount and a 30-day risk-free guarantee by visiting zivo.life and using my promo code. To support my show and to receive 30% off your entire order, enter in my promo code JADE, that's JADE, at checkout. All right, let's get back to the tidbits. Denmark and Greenland officials traveled to the White House to meet with Vice President Vance and Secretary of State Marco Rubio to discuss the United States acquiring Greenland, and sometime after the meeting, Germany deployed troops to Greenland. President Trump pointed out that NATO would be stronger if the United States acquires Greenland, especially if compared to it being in the hands of Russia or China instead. President Trump signed a new law allowing whole and 2% milk back into public school lunches, and HHS Secretary RFK Jr. explained that when the Obama administration removed whole milk from school lunches, kids chose to drink sugary drinks instead, damaging their health. The Supreme Court ruled that congressional candidates can legally challenge mail-in voting laws, and citizen journalists, including David Cate, exposed 70 people are registered to vote at a Fulton County, Georgia homeless shelter that has been closed for nearly a decade. Hillary Clinton joined her husband in being held in contempt of Congress after refusing to testify before the House Oversight Committee in the Epstein investigation, and Congressman Byron Donalds moved to hold them in contempt of Congress via a floor vote. Speaker Johnson demanded the passage of legislation to ban individual stock trading for members of Congress. Senator Alyssa Slotkin is now under federal investigation for taking part in the making of the video in which she, Senator Mark Kelly, and others urged members of the military to ignore orders. The city of San Francisco made the decision to sign off on reparations for Black people despite a $1 billion budget deficit. Each qualifying Black person could receive $5 million. The Supreme Court appears likely to uphold the ban on biological men and women's sports, but a decision on this isn't expected until the spring at the earliest. The FBI raided the home of a Washington Post reporter who illegally leaked and reported information from the Pentagon contractor, and this reporter has been thrown in jail. Johnson & Johnson added 2 more United States manufacturing plants, and the Stellantis CEO confirmed a massive investment which will create 5,000 new jobs coming to Michigan, Illinois, Indiana, and Ohio. The U.S. House rejected Congressman Chip Roy's measure to slash D.C. Circuit Court funding by 20% and take away staff funding from Judges Boasberg and Boardman. President Trump signed an executive order to place a 25% tariff on semiconductor chips if they are shipped through the United States to other countries. The U.S. House voted to continue funding the National Endowment for Democracy, which is an NGO that Elon Musk and others recommended defunding. The Senate blocked the House-passed legislation, giving tens of billions of dollars to big insurance for 3 years under Obamacare. That's all I have for today. I'll be back with another update soon. Until then, please like, subscribe, and share this podcast, and follow me on Instagram and X at Shades of Jade Pod. Thank you for listening and have a great day.